coordinates of drawing each line. Okay, so the first thing that what we do in a linear programming in solving this problem is that we take these constraints. So we take these constraints and we draw straight lines out of this in a graph. Okay, so but before doing that, we have to make them into this less than equal to, or it may be greater than equal to. It may be, first we assume it to be as equal to, so that we draw a straight line. Okay, so let us take up the first equation. So the first equation is 1.x1 plus 1.5x2 is less than equal to 600, right? So now this, if we have to, if we have to make it into a graph, first we have to convert this into a table. Okay, so now how do we do this? Can I clear this frame now? Has everyone noted this down?
Yes.
Is it okay? Has everyone noted this down?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now let us go into finding out the coordinates of every equation. I'll call this as equation 1. Okay, I'll just call it as equation 1, E, Q, and 1. Okay, similarly you can make equation 2. Okay, and the third one is equation 3. Okay, now we have to find the coordinates for every equation. Coordinates means, say for example, I have a graph out here. Okay, now when I need to draw two straight lines, I need one point out here and another point out here, and when I join these 2 points, you get a graph, straight line, right? So I need to find out this point and I need to find out these points, and these are called coordinates. Okay, so let us go for the first equation and find it out. So let me clear this frame first. Okay, is it okay? Now let me clear
Yes,
this.
sir.
Okay, yeah, now this frame is cleared. So let me, sorry, I'm going to use a text box. Okay, so it will be easier to type out here. Okay, so the first one is 1.0x1 plus, is that 1.5x2 is equal to 600. Okay, now generally what we do is, in order to draw to get the two coordinates, what we do is we draw a table. Okay, I'll draw a table with 3 columns. Okay, 1, 2. So this one is x1 and this one is x2. Okay, so in the first case what will happen is that we assume this x1 to be 0. Okay, we put this value out here. When x1 is 0, how much is x2? When x1 is 0, 0 into 1 is 0. So how much will be x2? So x2 will be nothing but 600 divided by 1.5, right? 600 divided by 1.5, how much we get? Anybody? What is the coordinates?
400.
400. Okay. So x2 is equal to 400. Okay, so we write this 400 out here. Okay, so you have one coordinate as uh, 0, 0 is x1, comma, and 400. Okay, so you get the first coordinate out here. So now I'm going to close this, and the second coordinate we're going to find out. What is the second coordinate going to be? So for the second coordinate, what we assume is that we have taken x1 as 0 in the first one. So in the second one, we assume x2 as 0. So when x2 is equal to 0, then x1 will be how much then? So x2 is 0 means 1.5 into 0 is 0, right? And what you have is 1.x1 is equal to 600. So x1 will be nothing but 600, right? So the second coordinate that you have is 600,
700.
and because x1 we have to write first, right? x1 and x2 is 0. So you got these two coordinates out here. Okay, so note this down on your exercise book. So you have as the first the first coordinates that you are having is 0 and 400, and the second one is 600 and 0. This is for equation 1, right? Okay, now what is for the second one? So let's go for the second one. Is it okay? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now let me clear this, okay? Let us clear this frame. Let's go for the second equation. Or can I, sorry. Can I edit on this again? No, I cannot. Anyway, let me clear this frame. All right. Now let's go for the second equation. The second equation is 0.2 x1 plus 0.2 x2 is equal to, we cannot write greater than equal to out here, so is equal to 100. Okay. Yeah, is equal to 100. So similarly, I'm going to make the same table out here again. So you have one table. Okay. x1 and x2, two columns out here. And this is going to be x1 and x2. Okay, so here again we take the same thing. Let x1 assume to be 0. Then what do you have out here? x2 is how much? 100 divided by 0.2. So you have another 0 will go up out there. So 500, right? 500.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and when x2 is equal to 0, how much will be x1? Same thing,
500.
500.
500. Okay, so you have the coordinates. So what are the coordinates? The coordinates are 0, comma 500, and you have another one which is 500 and 0. Okay, So you've got the second equation coordinates. The second equation coordinates are 0, 500 and 500
0.
and 0. Equation 2. Okay. Now the third equation is a bit tricky. The third equation is it okay? Now let me clear this frame, okay?
Okay, sir.
Is it okay? Has everyone copied?
Yes,
Now let me
sir.
get the third equation. The third equation is a little bit tricky because x1 is not there. You have only x2, right? So what you have is 0.1 0.1 x2 is equal to how much? 30.
30.
30.
Okay. So when x1 is equal to 0, now let us draw the same thing and let us see out here, okay? Now let us draw the same table.
Oi.
You have x1 and x2. When x1 is 0, means you have only x2. So what is x2 then? Means 30 divided by 0.1, you put up a 0 on top, so that means 300, isn't it? So when x1 is equal to 0, x2 is 300, right? And when x2 is 0, what will be x1?
300.
No, it will be infinity or 0. Okay, so there is nothing. So you have only one point, that is x1 is 0 and x2 is 300 only. Okay. So in this you have only one coordinate. You don't have two coordinates. So this is 0, 0 means it is point of origin and you cannot join to the point of origin. So you have to take only, you will consider only this, not this one. Okay. So since x1 is not given out here, so we will not consider only, we will consider only one line, and this line, when you'll see later on, it will be a parallel line. Okay, so you have coordinates out here is only 0 and comma 300. Okay, so you have for equation 3, you have only 3 and 0 and 300. This is for equation 3. Okay, now I hope you are clear. Okay, now let's go to the plotting of this thing. Okay, so let me clear this. Okay, now let me clear this and I'm going to draw the line. Since we have x-axis and y-axis only, we will be considering only one quadrant. Okay, let me. Generally in a graph, what do we have is we have like this in a graph, right? A graph is drawn like this. So you have generally x-axis, and generally when we draw a graph, it is like this, x dash, and you have y and y dash, right? But generally what happens is that this is from 0 to 1 and this is from 0 to minus and so on. So this side is nothing but negative. Okay, means minus sign, and this side is plus sign. Okay, so similarly this side is nothing but what you have as a positive side. Okay, but this side is nothing but again negative. So this is plus and negative, this is negative and negative, this is again plus and some negative. So this tree is not required for us. So we will require this positive area only when x1 and x2 is greater than equal to 0. This means that the last equation should come here only, means the others are not required. Okay, so that's why we'll be using this quadrant only, and this x will become for us x1 and this y will become x2. Okay, now let me clear this and let us start drawing the graph. So what I have is out here, this is one line. Okay, then another line. My lines are not straight, so please bear with it. Okay, so this is x1 and this is x2. Okay, now we are going to see up to 600, so I'm going to take it up to 600. Okay, so I may have something like, so let us take it as, let me take it up to this point. I'll make it as 600 out here. Half of this will be around, this is not exact, you can use a graph. Okay, sorry, this is 300. Okay, and I can make it into like 100 and 200. So this will be around 200 and 100. Okay, and similarly I'll make two more here. This will be 400 and 500. Okay, so similarly around this much distance I'll make it up to say around 600. Half of will be around here 300. And 1, 2, similarly 1, 2. I will not write this 100, 200 and so on. Okay, now let us point the coordinates for equation 1. For equation 1 is 0 and the first one is 0 and 400 and the second coordinate is 600 and 0. So when you say 0 means this point is nothing but 0 and 0. That means this point is x1 is 0 and x2 is 0. Okay, so this point is 0, 0. So let us start with the first coordinate is 0, 400. So the first x1 is 0 here, then x2 is 400. So where is x2? x2 is on top. So you go up out here 0. Everything on this line is 0, 0, but here is 400. So this point is, you draw a small circle here, and this is 0, 400, right? This is 0, 400. This is one point that you have got out here. Okay. Now let's go to the second one. The second one is 600 and 0. So 600 stands for x1. So you look into the x1 out here. What is 600? Here is 600. And x2 is how much? x2 is 0. Means this point is 0. If it's x2 is 100, then it will go up out here 100. So it will not go up, so it will remain out here. So this is the second point, which is 600 and 0. Okay, 600 and 0. Now join these 2 points by drawing a scale. Okay, my line is going to be a bit curvy, so please bear with it. Okay, now this is the line. This line is your equation 1. What is that equation? That equation is the first equation, which is 1x1, that is, I will not write 1 out here, x1 plus 1.5 x2 is equal to how much? 600. This line is representing this equation. x1 plus x2 or 1.5 x2 is equal to 600. Okay. We will come to the later part where it is less than equal to 600. Okay. So for the time being, we will leave out here. Okay. Now let's draw the second line. What is the second line? 0, 500. So you have this 0, then 500 out here. So this point, this is 0, 500. And the second one is 500, 0. So here is 500 and 0. Now join this again lines. You have these 2 lines out here. Oh, my line is curvy. Okay, so this is the second equation. Okay, now the third one is 0, 300. So you have this point out here, and this is 0, then you go up to 300. So this point is 0, 300. Okay, now all the lines which are parallel to x-axis, this is what we call as the third equation. The third equation, this is nothing but your, and this is 0.1 x2 is equal to how much? 30. Okay. So if you see any point out here, this is 300, 0. Okay. So this equation is 0.1 x2 equal to 30. Okay. Now the second part is that you have to test all these things. Okay. Now let us see, in order to test this, what we call as the feasible solution, means you have to find out the areas, the points where I can get the maximum revenue. Okay. So all these points represents how much of x1 and how much of x2 to be produced. Okay. So let us go into the first equation. The first equation is that x1 plus 1.5 x2 is equal to 600, but the original is less than equal to 600, isn't it? So we have to test this out. So in order to test this out, we take this point of origin and put it out here. So if x1 is equal to 0 and x2 is equal to 0, and when you multiply it, if it's less than 600, if it's true, is it true or false? It is true. If it's true, then we shade all the area which has the origin. Okay. Let me use a different color. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so we shade all these regions out here. Okay. Similarly, for this also, the second equation was 0.2x1 plus 0.2x2 is less than or equal to 100. So when we put 0, 0 out there, what you get is 0. 0 is less than 100 and it is true. Right. So once again, all those which falls in that line, we draw another shading out there. So this was the second equation, this curvy equation. Okay. So now you have these two shaded portions out here. This portion is shaded only by one color. Here also is by only one color. Okay. Now for the last one, when I have x1 and x2 is 0, 0, here means if 0 is less than 30, so you have again the reason out here is shaded. So let me shade by another color. So I'll use this green color here and shade all these regions again. Okay, so whatever is in that equation. Okay, right. Now once we have done this, all the three colored shadings, when they fall together, means it is fulfilling the requirement of our problem. So now what we have out here is you have this region out here, the three shaded region. Okay, and this region which has all the three colors, this is called the feasible solution area. So the coordinates in this point, this point, this point, and these points are the possible solutions, or anything in between inside. Okay, now what are these points out here? So let us take up these coordinates. So let me take up the first coordinate that we have is 0, 0. 0, 0 is again no use. Okay. Second,
0, 3.
yes. The second point is you have 0, 30, 300. Sorry, 0, 300. Then the third coordinate that you have out here, exactly you cannot find it out. I'll give you from here. Okay. In fact, you will get 2 points out here. There should be another point here. Okay. In fact, my graph is not so well. In fact, you should get 2 points out here. The first point is yeah. So the third one is 150 and 300. 150 because I'll tell you how it is coming. 150 and 300, and the next one is 300 and 180, and the last point is 500 and 0. Okay, now how do I get this 150 and 300? If you see, when you draw a line from here, dotted line from here, okay, so it will come up to around 150. This is 100, so 150, 150 and 300. So similarly, as you go up more, here what you will get is around 180. So what you have is around 300 and around 180. This line is not coming out clearly. So these are the coordinates. Okay. Now these these figures you put it into the main objective function. If you remember, my z is equal to 50x1 50x1 plus it x2. Now you put these values into x1 and x2 and find out which has the maximum value. The one which gives you the maximum value is the solution. Okay. So when you put this value, when you put 0, 0 is equal to thing, what you will get is, you can find out, means 0 into 50 is 0, 0 into 80 is 0, so naturally it will be 0. Okay. The second one will be, the first one is 0, means 0 into 50 is 0, 80 into 300 is 24,000. 24,000. This is rupees 24,000. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that you are having 0 model of X1 is being sold, means no X1 is being sold, but you are selling 300 X2. So the total for one model of X2 is 300, 80 rupees. 80 into 300 is 24,000. Similarly, for the third one, you will get 31,500. Okay, 31,500. Then let me remove this one. Okay, then the next one you will get around 300 into 50 plus 80 into 180. So this will get around 29,400. 29,400. Okay, and of course the last one is 500 into 550, so you will get 25,000. Then the next one is 0, 0, so it will not affect much. So what you have is out here. So which one gives you the maximum? So the maximum is given by 31,500. That means you need to produce 150 X1 model and 300 X2 model, so that you get a maximum revenue of rupees 31,500. Okay, so this is how we solve the problem. These problems are being solved by using, when you have only 2 variables, you can use the graphic method, but if you are having 3, then you cannot use graphic method. If you have x1, x2, x3, more than x2, 2, then you cannot use graphic method. Okay, so this is how.
Sir,
Yes,
is the third one correct?
the third one.
Yeah.
The third one is 150 into 150 plus 300. Yeah, it is okay.
When we multiply 50 and 150, it's 7,500 and
Yes.
plus 80 into 300.
24,000.
And when we add that one, 31500 is not, I don't know.
Yeah, 7,500 plus 24,000. So 500 and 500 will go. 7 plus 24 is 31, no? 31,500. Okay. I think you can use a calculator to try.
$75,000 and 24,000 is 900. So, sir, how did we get 31500?
2 1, not 2, it's 3 1.
31500 is correct.
31500. It is
Yeah,
not 2.
it's
My
correct. It's
writing,
correct.
my writing is not that thing, that's why. It's 31500. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how we do the problem. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me stop sharing this and let me go to the second problem. This is a maximization problem, okay? So just 5 minutes, I'll just explain you the second problem, how to do the formulation and in minimization problem, what happens is that we shape the other side, not the point of origin. Okay. So here we shape the point of origin, but if you look into the minimization problem, you'll go to the other side. So let me stop sharing this Jamboard and let us come back to the other side. Okay, so I'm stop sharing this and let me close this Jamboard. All right, now I'm back to the screen and let me show you the second problem. The second problem is slightly different. So let me present a window and yeah, share. Now can you see this? The second question. Can you see the second question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is, let me read the question and try to understand the question. Okay. The question says that you are on a special diet and you know that your daily requirement of 5 nutrients, okay, you require 5 nutrients and your daily requirement is 60 milligrams of vitamin C, 1000 milligrams of calcium, 18 milligrams of iron, 20 milligrams of niacin, and 360 milligrams of magnesium. Okay, so our food contains some of these. So these are our requirement. Okay, and you have 2 supplements to choose from. One is called Vega Vita and the second one is called Happy Health. So you have 2 products. One is called Vega Vita and the second one is called Happy Health. Okay, Vega Vita costs 20 cents per tablet. You have this particular tablet which costs 20 cents. Okay, and Happy Health costs 30 cents per tablet. Okay, so you have these 2 tablets. One tablet is costing 20 cents and other one is costing 30 cents. Okay, now Vega Vita contains 20 milligrams of vitamin C, 500 milligrams of calcium, 9 milligrams of iron, and 2 milligrams of niacin, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Okay, so you have these components of vitamin C, calcium, iron, niacin, and magnesium. Okay, so these components are therefore Vega Vita. Okay, now similarly for Happy Health, it contains 30 milligrams of vitamin C and 250 milligrams of calcium, 2 milligrams of iron, and 10 milligrams of niacin, and 90 milligrams of magnesium. Okay, so the second tablet also contains somewhat similar, but the components are different. Okay, so the question is, how many of each tablet should you take every day to meet your minimum requirements while spending the least amount of money. Means you should spend least amount of money, but you should also get your required nutrients. Okay, so which tablets, how many of these two tablets can you use? Okay, so it is like similar that model X1 and X2, but out there you want to get the maximum profit. Here you want to use the minimum amount of money to buy both the tablets. Okay, now how do we solve this problem? So let me stop sharing this and come back to the solution again. Okay, let me stop sharing this, and you may have already seen the answers that I've already given to you. Okay, so I'll just show it to you again and how the problem is to be. Now let me present again, answer 2 and share. Okay, now before when we look into that problem, the problem looks very complex, right? So the first thing that you should do is you make a table like this. Okay, so you should organize in such a way that you should organize it in such a way that it can be easily understood, right? So you have the items vitamin C, calcium, iron, niacin, magnesium. Okay, so these are the components that, and the minimum requirement is given out here per day for me. Okay, so I need around 60 milligram of vitamin C, 1000 milligram of calcium, and 18 milligrams of iron, 20 milligrams of niacin, and 360 milligrams of magnesium. Okay, and the problem was given out there in statement. Now we have written it in a table form. Viga Vita contains 20 milligrams of vitamin C, 500 milligrams of calcium, and 9 milligrams of iron, and so on. Similarly, Happy contains 30, 250, 2, and so on. And the cost of one tablet is 20 cents for Viga and 30 cents for Happy. Now, once you have this, you can easily convert it into a linear programming model. Okay, so how do we do that? So since we know that it's a minimization problem, you have minimize Z, right? Minimize Z is equal to nothing but 20 cents of X1. X1 is your Viga, and X2 is nothing but Happy, that is 0.30. Okay, so we want to find the minimum of this thing. Now these are subjected to constraints. Constraints of what? Constraints of vitamin C. What is my constraints of vitamin C? I require 20 X1 plus 30 X2, but it should be minimum of 60. That means it can be greater than equal to 60 milligram. Okay. Similarly, the second equation that you have is 500 X1 plus 250 X2 is greater than equal to 1000 milligram. Okay. Similarly, the third one is iron, which is 9 X1 plus 2 X2 is greater than equal to 18. Okay. The third one is now 2x1 plus 10x2 is greater than equal to 20, and the last one is 60x1 plus 90x2 is greater than equal to 360. So these are the equations that you have. Okay, and finally x1 and x2 is greater than equal to 0. Okay, now this is a formulation that I have done. Okay, so your job today is to draw a graph, okay, and find a solution. The shading will be on the other side, not where 0, 0 is. Okay, you can find it out from the internet how it is being drawn and so on. Okay, and you send me the solution, and I'll put up I'll put up this question in the LMS. Okay, and you guys draw the graph, find the solution, take a photo of it, and upload it out there. Okay. So I have formulated the question for you. Now you have to find out the solution. Okay. So how many tablets of X1 and X2 has to be purchased with the minimum cost? And you get the minimum total requirement of your vitamins and other chemicals. Okay. So this is my work for you today. Okay. So we'll wrap it up now. Okay. So let us close it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay then.
Thank you,
So I will be adding up the
Thank you,
LMS.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
In the afternoon, I'll be putting up the LMS. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.